Hi everyone, this is the 1921 diary series, and we actually have some warm weather here. I just did the 1906 diary entry for the day, and Dimitri was talking about how nice and warm the weather is, and I can finally relate to that. So I still haven't made the switch to short sleeve shirts, but I think I will be doing that today at some point. So that's just a little irrelevant update for you. And in my 1906 video, I talked about wanting to start off with these diary entries with three questions. What is the historical significance? What do we learn about Dimitri? And what do we learn about any family members or people of note? Okay. But so in the 1906 diary entry, I did that first. And in this diary entry, I think I'll try and do it afterwards. Maybe that makes a little more sense. So we have, we did the January 1921 diary entries up till the 5th of January. And now let's see. We have yesterday. Now we're going more or less in sequence again. We did the 6th yesterday, so the 6th of January 1921 was actually Christmas Eve on the old calendar, and Dimitri and the little circle of friends and Maria and Gulia went off to Orest and had a wild time with musicians, and the vodka flowed in rivers, and singing and crying, and Dmitri was just completely in his element. But of course, after the feast comes the reckoning. So today he has to deal with the consequences of that. All right, so it's a Friday, 7th of January, 25th on the Western calendar of January, and he's writing the diary entry on the train between Monte Carlo and Paris, and this will be an overnight trip on the train. So they have sleeping compartments, or he has one, I think. All right, here we go. Maria and Gulia went to church in Nice in the morning, but I just couldn't because I woke up with a frightful cat. He puts that in quotation marks, and didn't understand anything. Then the telephone rang, and I heard the offended and tearful voice of Andrei. He said, "Dimitri, what's going on? I waited all day yesterday, and nothing. Is that really the way we're leaving things? Without a little gesture? Without one little gesture?" At that point, I got mad and began speaking candidly. I told him that if that gesture consisted of Maria receiving Maria, it just wasn't going to happen. And anyway, she had gone to Nice, so the question was moot. I had a quick bite at the hotel with Shalubatov and the Polovtsovs, then hurried to the station. The train left at 12:47. The weather was wonderful, of course. Terribly warm. Maria and Gulia were at the station in Nice with his parents and got on the train there along with Sofka P. Naturally, I slept all afternoon after yesterday's supper. After dinner, we all played bridge. I went to bed early. Okay, what do we have to say about this? I wanted to mention, before going any further, the name Maria. Sometimes I slip and call her Marie, but Dimitri very consistently from childhood on, even when they were living in France, did not change to using Marie. He always called her Maria, and he didn't even use the Russian form of that name. He used which would have been Marya, I believe, M-A-R soft sign, ya, and instead he used Maria, So this was sort of like with Prince Ioan Konstantinovich, that the Russian form of John is Ivan, of course, but they were using this other form that sounds more like John or Johann. So for whatever reason, he was also using this middle form of Maria instead of either the Russian or the French and English Marie. But I believe that she herself used the name Marie in her memoirs, probably for the readership that she expected to have. It was a book that was published in English. Okay, so Maria, and so it's Christmas Day. I forgot to mention. Merry Christmas. It's Christmas Day on the old calendar, and Maria and Gulia faithfully go to Nice, to St. Nicholas Cathedral there, to liturgy. But Dmitri just can't make it. He has this frightful cat. So why does he use the word cat? Because when he has a hangover, the word that he uses transliterated into Russian letters is Katzenjammer. Katzenjammer in German, I guess, would be the pronunciation. And so he abbreviates that to cat. So he has a frightful hangover, and he adds, I didn't understand anything. So he says that very explicitly and clearly with the Russian word for understand. I didn't understand anything, but I think he must mean that he was just muddle-headed. Yeah, it took him a while to clear his head. Okay, and then he's still trying to clear his head when the telephone rings, and it's Andrei, and Andrei immediately launches into all of this. He's making, his voice sounds offended. It also sounds tearful, like he's on the verge of crying, I guess, and he says, Dmitri, what the heck is going on? I was waiting all day, to hear from you about Maria and how this was going to be resolved, this situation between Maria and Malia. And what the heck is Andrei thinking? He's already had this blowout with Dmitri over that Dmitri said he came this close to actually punching him, and that he sort of turned Andrei out of his hotel room without bread or salt, as he put it. And now here he is in a horrible mood because of the hangover, and Andrei's timing is just horrible. And he just won't let this matter drop. And he should have gotten the picture by now that it was just making Dmitri madder and madder. So he expects Maria, or he expected Maria to make some little gesture to show that she wasn't turning up her nose at this unmarried, living in sin woman, Matilda Kshesinska. And Dimitri's just had it. So you can see he tells Andrei that that's not going to happen. And then there's a little bit at the end of, well, she's gone to Nice, so it's pointless even asking the question, rather than just being belligerent about it and saying no way. He sort of says, well, I can't even do anything about it if I wanted to. So there's this confusing sentence where he says, I told him that if that gesture consisted of Maria receiving Maria, it just wasn't going to happen. So obviously in his when he was writing this, that was just a slip. I make those slips all the time, as you know, when I'm speaking, and probably also when I'm writing. So the gesture, if the gesture consisted of Maria receiving Malia. So the other reason that Andrei is making this phone call, even though he may understand that it is not good timing, is because Dmitri and Maria are leaving that very day. So that was why he was waiting the day before, waiting all day, as he puts it, because he knew, obviously, that they would be leaving on Christmas Day. So if he also called to wish Dmitri a Merry Christmas or a Happy Christmas, Dmitri doesn't mention that. I think it was too, Andrei just launched right into it. Okay, so he has a quick bite, a little bit of lunch at the hotel. Shagubatov, his ersatz, well, I should really say erstwhile, adjutant is staying on, apparently, in Nice with as a guest of Gazriel and Nina. The Polovtsovs are not leaving because they have their own villa there, Pete and Mimi. So he quickly eats and then goes off to the station. The train left at 12:47. He speaks sarcastically about how the weather, of course, is wonderful. Of course it is, the day I'm leaving. And I always feel that way too when I'm in Davos. If it's a beautiful, glorious day on the day I have to leave up in the Alps, then that makes it hard. Okay, so Sofka P is the wife of Alexander Polovtsov, the brother whom Dmitri does not get on with, unlike with Pete. But he likes Sofka. He likes her specifically when she's not with her husband, because apparently she's less inhibited then. And he sleeps. He spends most of the afternoon sleeping, and then when he gets up and they have dinner, they play bridge. And he doesn't seem to have been an avid bridge player. I mean, for some people, it was like, it's like golf. It was something they were obsessed with. Maybe some of you are really into bridge. I've actually never played. Dmitri plays because it's what people do. Okay, so that's that. And so what do we learn about this from a historical sense? Only things in a very general way. Really general, a little bit about the Russian community in the south of France, in Monte Carlo. And about Dmitri, well, that what we already know, that he can be quite an irritable person when he's not in a good mood, and when somebody is pushing him, that's very understandable. And we have the same people. We don't have any new people, but of course every diary entry is a necessary link in the chain to get an overall idea of who a person is, not only on the days when something significant happens, but on the days that are just ordinary days. Okay, so tomorrow will be the one day postponed Christmas celebration, family Christmas celebration, with Dmitri and Maria and their stepmother and their two little half-sisters. So definitely come back for that. We'll get reoriented in Paris and have interesting people, as always, and move closer to the 22nd when Coco enters the picture in a big way. All right, see you next time. Bye.